What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? Dr. Ricky McCray here, and I'm here to talk about more from my book, Some Things That We're Fighting For. Listen, I want you to go get the book if you haven't. I want to be a blessing to you. Matter of fact, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you go check out our videos. There's a ton of videos that I'm putting out. I want to be a blessing to you. If you know you've struggled with relationships, you got daddy issue, mama issues, that there's some stuff you know is causing you anger and you haven't been healed from it, please go get that. But today, I want to talk about this idea of having the hard conversation, talking about the stuff we don't talk about. I, for a long time, was like, I'm not gonna be like my daddy. I'm not gonna be like my daddy. And I was like determined to not be like my daddy. And inevitably, what I ended up doing was becoming just like my daddy. My friend Nathaniel McGuire says, what you hold on to is the very thing you become. And so, you know, my mom was doing her best to help me deal with and navigate, but nobody was talking to me about why my dad was the way he was. Nobody was talking to me about why my dad experienced the things he did and why he treated me the way he did. And so what happened was I became just crazy. Y'all don't judge me. I tell you all the time, I'm gonna be transparent. I want to help you. But I was out there and it was a particular young lady in high school that I had met, and she was just giving me a lot of attention. I loved it. I enjoyed it. She was a great young lady. And it got to the place where I didn't know how to balance. I thought it was either or, right? That either the girl or my family and friends. And so I chose the girl and I started lying. I mean, I was lying and involving my friends in the lie. I'm like, man, if my mama call you, tell her that I'm staying at your house. I told my mom I'm at your house, right? And I'm trying to keep my lies straight. And so one day I at the girl's house, I was supposed to be at work, called off at work at Long John Silver's. Yes. And I'm at the girl's house. This is back in the day with the pagers. My mama paged me and I'm like, oh Lord, this is my mama, hold up. And so I call her, I'm like, hey mom, you know I'm at work. And so she's talking, small talking. I'm like, well mom, I gotta go because I gotta get back to work. And she's like, okay, I'll see you later. I hang up. A couple minutes later, the phone rings. The girl answers the phone. She says, hello. She's like, oh, it's your mama. And threw the phone down. I'm like, oh man, you couldn't play that no better than that. And so I picked the phone up. I'm like, hello. She was like, you are just like your daddy, you lying person. She said something else, y'all, and hung up the phone. In that moment, I felt so bad. You know why? Because I had reminded her of the trauma and the pain of my father. Because I was now lying and being deceitful. I had become him. And can I tell you something? The reason I had become him is because I was running away. I was running away from those things that I wasn't sure about. I was running away from who I thought he was. Instead of trying to find out, who is my dad? Why does he act like this? I needed to find out, why am I like this? And it wasn't until much later that I began to have these conversations with my dad, conversations with my Aunt Sissy. What's going on, Auntie? And she began to share how they grew up. And she begins to share, you know, what happened in their household and what happened with their mother and father and all the trauma and the turmoil and the pain that they experienced and being taken out of the home and being put in foster care and all these things that happened traumatically to them. They were at one point not necessarily avoiding, but they just weren't talking about it. But when they begin to talk about it, I begin to understand. And guess what? I begin to understand that I needed to do things different. Not just that I needed to be different from my dad, but I needed to understand the pain that it causes. I needed to understand the consequences. I needed to understand what it does to people when I treat them like that. There's some of you, you've got some family secrets, some stuff you ain't talking about, some trauma, some pain that you won't talk about, that guess what? You got the next generation who's repeating the molestation. The next generation is repeating the abuse. The next generation is repeating all of the negative and the crime because you won't talk about it. I know you're thinking if we don't talk about it, maybe it'll go away. No, the reality is the enemy has been using your silence to continue to run rampant and control your family and to cause division, to cause hurt and pain. And so I'm going to encourage you, have conversations with your children, with your grandchildren, with your aunts, your uncles, your nephews, your nieces. Begin to talk about it, expose these things, not so it's just that it's a gossip thing, but it becomes, these are things we need to learn from. These are things as a family we need to get better from. I believe that God takes the things that we speak and that God begins to bring healing because we've spoke it, because we've brought it to life and brought it on the table, and God says, now I can deal with it. But the enemy is the one who deals with secrets and silence. God deals with us speaking it out because there's something about declaring it. There's something about sharing it that gives God power to work through it. Think about what God did in the very beginning. He spoke, right? And said, let there be light, because there's power in speaking. I don't know who this is for. You've been keeping and holding on to secrets. You've been holding on to what somebody did to you. And the reality is, if you keep holding on to it, it will happen again to somebody else. Have the hard conversation. I believe that God wants to do something amazing, but it's going to require you embracing the power of speaking it so that God can do something to heal it. I pray you are blessed by this today. I pray that also that generational curses are broken. I pray that mothers and fathers and sons and daughters will be better because of this. Y'all, it is time out for us holding on to these secrets and these things that happen to us because we view them as shame and guilt. When the reality is, the fact you survived speaks to the strength that you have. And when you speak up, it means that you are now advocating and declaring that it will not happen again on your watch. Can I say this to somebody? I'm trying to end, but there's somebody, God says, your assignment is in this season is to be a watchman on the tower. You're to be the watchman for your family, watchman for your children, watchman for your job, watchman for the education, watchman for youth. You are to be the watch person. And you can't, the purpose of a watchman is to yell out, to warn, so that you can defend yourself. You can be the help. I pray you take that role serious today. Tell somebody what happened to you and the things you've seen, so the warning will be out and the enemy will not be able to come in and to continue to hurt and harm your family. Thank you so much for being with me. Listen, go get my book, Some Things Are Worth Fighting For. I got all this stuff in there. Woo! My God, I mean, I'm overwhelmed. It's just bubbling out of me, y'all, because I want you to be whole. I want you to be healed. I want you to be a better father, a better mother, a son, a better daughter. I want you to be a better person, a better woman, a better man, a better husband, a better wife. I want you to be better. And so you can't do that on your own. You need help. And so listen, you go get that book, go to drrickymccrae.com. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. I'm going to be sharing more videos like this. God bless you, and I will talk to you soon.